This message is to President Zelensky and the leaders of Europe. Recently, there was a message put up on LinkedIn by Global Ethics, which they have apparently retracted. It was a statement that was attributed to UN Rapporteur Francesca Albanese. And in that, she made a case for what you and Europe's leaders should do regarding Trump, who is, by the way, not a legitimate president. He is nothing more, in my opinion, than a criminal, a common one at that, who has used fraud and election rigging to gain his position again. The advice she gave was ultimately very simple. Trump is acting like a bully. So rather than feeding into his sense of superiority, his sense of power, ignore him. Cut him out of the negotiations entirely. Refuse to deal with him. Refuse to let him sit at the table. Refuse to let him be involved whatsoever. If he feels he has the right to go directly to Putin, which he does not, and negotiate on behalf of Europe and the Ukrainian people, which he does not have that right, then the best way to teach him a lesson, to teach him to stop overstepping his bounds, to teach America to stop overstepping its bounds, is to cut Trump out of the process. Cut Vance, who is just a lapdog, out of the process. Cut Speaker Johnson, who is a fanatical lapdog, out of the process. Make this a negotiation between the Europe that wants to be at peace and united and Russia that wants to take over as much of its old territory as it possibly can, even though it doesn't have a right to do so, and has largely stood unopposed as it has reabsorbed nation after nation back into itself after they declared independence. Trump does not respect people who are conciliatory, who compromise, or who try to behave in a civil way. Trump only recognizes and respects power. He only respects people who stand up to him and don't let him take advantage of them. That's all that he respects. And since he has been in bed with Russia since the 1980s, and since he represents Putin in America, he is not worthy of your consideration. So ignore him. Now, I don't know if they took down the quote because it didn't actually come from Francesca, or if they took down the quote because they received too much pressure. But I believe that no matter the source, the advice was correct. Trump is a man driven by the desire for power and wealth, and he has a massive ego because he's at least a narcissist, if not worse than that. So the best way to make him suffer, to make him contrite, is to cut him out of the process and ignore him. After all, look at what he's doing to his allies. He's making attempts to take over other countries and territories of countries like Greenland, Canada, Panama. What's next? Will he go after Denmark itself? Will he go after Great Britain? How many countries before he'll be satisfied? He needs to be put in his place like a naughty dog, which is really what he is. As long as Europe panders to him, he will take advantage of the situation. And because he is not legitimately the leader of America this time. He does not deserve that kind of respect. And because of his behavior and the behavior of Elon Musk, who is rabble-rousing in various parts of Europe, he does not deserve a seat at the table. He embarrasses me and many other Americans. We do not agree with his tariff policy. That is an attempt to subjugate other countries. We do not agree with his lack of understanding of the history of tariffs and how they actually work, and his blatant disregard for the Constitution and federal law and state law. We do not like that he has sided with fanatical factions of disenfranchised people by manipulating them emotionally so that he can indoctrinate them. And then screw them over. Just like he's trying to screw over Ukraine. I don't have a problem with America getting some of the money back from Ukraine through the mineral deal. I do have a problem with the way he behaved during the press conference, in which he and Vance and that other jerk humiliated Zelensky when Zelensky didn't deserve that. I stand behind Ukraine. I stand behind Europe. I condemn Trump and Vance and their administration and the Republican Congress and the members of SCOTUS who have become corrupt. And I hope that America will learn a lesson, that the government will learn a lesson that no longer can they decide what's going to happen in Europe. No longer can they bully Europe around by withholding aid. That Europe will stand strong and say to the U.S., no more. You are our ally. You are not our boss. We are partners. This is not a subordination. Thank you for watching, Europe. Ukraine, I wish you success and much happiness and the restoration of all of your territories to you, and the release of all of those captive nations that Russia has stolen away. Have a wonderful day.